welcome to Butterflies of Wisdom, everyone. And that voice you just heard in the background of this interview is Eric Patrick Thomas. And Eric Patrick Thomas has a very interesting story. He is actually paralyzed with his own business, and his story is unbelievable. And his story can be found in the show notes of this episode. So without further ado, I'm going to let Mr. Eric take it away.
Thank you. Thanks. Great introduction. Thanks for having me, on your show today. It's great.
Thank you for coming on. And please explain to my fan base more of what you do.
Okay, wake up, start Google Chrome, go to sleep. That was me talking to the computer with voice recognition. I want to make sure that it won't automatically click and cut the show or hang the phone up, because that has happened.
Well, that happened.
Yeah, it has happened before. I own a graphic design, a sign, banner, and apparel business. And I advocate, mentor, leader, a board member, an ambassador, committee member, and a speaker and a music artist.
Oh, man of many hats from that wheelchair of yours. And please explain to my fan base how you got your injury.
I got my injury, which is a spinal cord injury, almost 20 years ago, September 20th of 97. A music artist, as I said earlier. We were releasing a hip-hop album by group Miscellaneous, and I went outside to check the parking lot at our album release party. And I was coming back to the house, and someone pulled a gun and then opened fired. And I have a bullet in my third and fourth vertebrae. And from that, instantly, I was paralyzed from the neck down, unable to breathe, unable to speak or yell out, and basically unable to communicate, so everything just shut down. And that's how I got injured.
Well, man. So, okay. I hate to do this, but I'm going to ask a dummy question. And for those of you that don't know, I have hemiplegia cerebral palsy. I am still certainly not paralyzed like Alan is, but is the bullet still in your spine to this day?
Yes, if the bullet is lodged between the third and fourth vertebrae facing vertically.
And why couldn't they take it out? Was it too much of a risk?
At the time, I guess that's what they said, but I'm not really sure if they just didn't want to do it or take on that liability. It's difficult to say, but it was kind of I think it was risk is the thing that they were saying, the hospital was saying.
Yeah, because, Eric, the last time I tried to have my back redone, they didn't want to do it because of liability reasons, and yeah. So I don't know if you guys know this. Eric certainly does not, but I spent 20 minutes in paralysis in 2006, and I don't remember it obviously because I was underneath a knife for back surgery. So I spent 20 minutes in paralysis, but what I do remember is the damage afterwards. And so X damage compared to mine is much more severe. And do you know, I have finally got over that damage from 2006. So Eric, what do you do on a daily basis other than run your company, which sounds fascinating, to, I guess, keep yourself healthy?
As I said earlier, my paralysis is from the neck down, so I rely on someone to do pretty much everything but think and speak. I mean, bathing, toileting, skincare, dressing, feeding, drinking, getting transferred from the bed to the wheelchair, getting into a vehicle for transportation and driving me. There's everything that somebody someone that doesn't have, I guess, mobility or cognitive, that they just do without thinking about it. It's everyday task or living. I get up early, like about 5 in the morning, and just start getting ready. A caregiver comes in, and I do bed bath and get ready, and then and then once I'm all dressed and everything, ready to go, transferred into the wheelchair, and then my graphic designer artist assistant, she comes and picks me up, and we get in my vehicle, and sometimes we can go straight to the shop, and then sometimes we have to go pick up supplies, or we have to go meet a customer, or I have a meeting, or say I'm speaking somewhere, like I might be going to a school to speak somewhere. So it can kind of change day by day. I go to a lot of transition centers and speak to the kids, or I go to the school, or I go to, chambers or Rotary Club, just you name it. There really isn't any kind of like, box that I don't go outside of. I'll speak wherever, and or I may be going to the music studio, D-Man Foundation. I may be going down there. I'm an ambassador of the foundation, but I'm also a music artist, and they have a barrier-free music therapy recording studio. And so I go there and I record with music therapists and an audio engineer, and I make my own music, and then I get to perform it. So that's the other thing. So I'm working on music.
How cool is
it's
that?
Awesome.
It's awesome. Well, maybe, you and I have to talk about that offline, because guess what? I'm always looking for music for this podcast. So maybe you and I have to talk offline, because I did not know you did so many hats. Now, when you say transition centers, do you mean assisted living, or do you mean something else?
Because I got injured at 20 years old, I kind of fell in between these lines of being able to receive adult services and community living supports. And the service of community living supports comes from Michigan Community Mental Health Department. So it's a lot of people are developmental disabilities. So here in the area in Flint, or Genesee County, the kids will go to school. I think they have up to until they're 26 years old. So they're now graduating. I go there in January and start teaching them about person-centered planning and self-determination, living arrangements. And because they're going to be graduating or completing school and moving on to the next stage in life. So we're getting them prepared into the next chapter. Are they going to move out and live independently? How is it going to be possible? Are they going to find a job? Are they going to own a business? Are they going to go to school, continue college, or what's their goals and dreams? And so I go there and I, once a month, and so they transition, from school to the next chapter of their life.
Okay, because I was going to say that's what I thought you meant, but for the layman's terms that are listening to this podcast that don't know the lives of the disabled, that's why I stated that question. And so, do you feel like it's helpful to these kids?
Yes, I do. but there's also times that you don't get to see the results, or did they ever like continue on with it, with this, contacting their caseworker and tell them they want to start having a self-determination living arrangement and work on a person-centered plan and a pre-plan. Because there's like not a database, or there's not like something where you can see them all the time. You just hope, that whatever you're doing, and then maybe you'll bump into them or see them in the news or something accomplishing, or, maybe you'll see their parents, and they'll say, hey, you talked to my child 10 years ago, and I have come across with, people that I, 10 years ago I spoke to, and they're like, yeah, I'm doing this now, and I moved out, and I had roommates, and now I'm working here, and then I moved back to my mom's, and just for a little bit because we had some setbacks, but now I'm independent, and everybody's story, is kind of different, but the idea of going there is to hope, the hope is that everybody, will transition, and succeed. But there has been people yeah.
So basically, you have the people that do person-centered planning have no system to keep track of them.
Correct. Well, yeah, unless you're contacting like all their caseworkers and you're keeping on top of it, like say I went there and there was 30 kids, or there's a lot of them actually, and each one got with and then I had like a list of them, and then I would have to like follow up with each one of them myself. There's not something that's been put together. And I just had my person-centered plan, and I talked about that, like maybe there's a way to develop some kind of model so that we know that somebody's not kind of falling through the cracks, or like the ball drops. Because sometimes when
that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, well, it does happen. I mean, if you're talking to 30 people, sometimes things aren't followed through because you're not able to speak to all 30 of them again and kind of follow the whole like you follow the progress from January all the way until June. But after June, they're done with school and they go back to, they go to the next chapter. So you don't see them that often. There's not like a follow-up conference call or a follow-up meeting to find out how everybody's doing. So maybe those are things that maybe the school, maybe can develop, like, following the journey of that person so that we know this person, never really approached their caseworker. Maybe we could talk to them and help them out more, like encourage them or mentor them or something. So.
Exactly. And just to let you guys know, I am definitely not involved in person-centered planning, but the little that I do know about person-centered planning, it's a heck of a lot of work, one, and as Eric just mentioned, once you get a person on a plan, they would fall through the cracks. So what I'm wondering, and Eric is in Michigan, and I'm out here in Colorado, I'm wondering if we could develop a state database as to say, look, this person needs help more than other people. Because what I'm concerned about, and then you can tell me if I'm wrong enough, what I'm concerned about is they're not getting the support they need once they fall through the cracks. And then we have to start back from square one.
Correct. Like, yeah, you couldn't say it any better. And that's the thing, like, I'm also part of a grassroots movement, Michigan Partners for Freedom. And we kind of go around the state of Michigan. Well, we don't kind of, we go around the state of Michigan and demand self-determination because it's the law here. And I think I don't know if it's a federal law, but it's the law. And uh, you're right that we go and we talk about it. We say that this is great and this is, the way to live and to have the independence, but how do we know that it's getting followed through? And that's, you're right, like a registry or something, like a self-determination registry, or something like that. 'Cause it would be hard if I went and spoke somewhere like 30 people today and then I went another place and then spoke to 50 people or a conference. It would be a full-time job for me to keep up with, go to sleep, sorry, with who,
yes,
who, yeah. And a lot of it, it's pro bono. Like Michigan Partners for Freedom had a really great thing. They had a grant and they were actually, giving stipends or, so it was a way that it was also like helping people, they were paying people, but like what they could do. But a lot of the stuff that I do is pro bono. But cause I just want to help and see a person make sure the person is utilizing their resources that they can achieve that quality of life, that independence, those goals and dreams and that they, that are there, but we just have to show them it or mentor them. But yeah, I mean, we could definitely talk, like after or, later on or some down the road and see if that we can, and plus you and I can talk about what person-centered planning is like where you are to where it is like where I am and self-determination. And maybe there's like things that we do here that you could learn and there's things that you do there that we can learn. We could develop a model, that's all it takes is someone to get together and make a change.
That would be great. And now I'm going to ask you your two favorite child questions. What has been your favorite piece of music that you have composed? And what has been your favorite piece of artwork that you have done?
Music? Okay, so we'll say like, the one that I just redid was really cool, and it was because it was something different. When I was growing up, Dr. Seuss was like a big influence on wordplay and that probably had and Mother Goose, and it probably had a really big thing to do with hip hop, with me, rhyme time and wordplay. And I just redid this song, kind of like a homage off of Dr. Seuss' Green Eggs and Ham. And it's, instead of Sam I Am, it's EIB. So instead of I am Sam I am, or something, it's I am Eric, call me EIB. And I really went through and I did this song, and it's got all these adjectives and stuff. It's really cool. Like kids, when they listen to it, they're like, wow, it's a learning song too. So it helps learning and it's fun. And it was really difficult because I played all three characters. So I played the character of E, which would have been Sam, and then the person that didn't like the Green Eggs and Ham, which is the person that doesn't like hip hop. Because it's, do you like hip hop MCs? I do not like them, EIB. And so the whole time this guy is trying to get the person to listen to this hip hop artist. And then at the end of the song, he was like, he actually listens to the hip hop artist. And he was like, you're right. I like this, I like this, and then at the end, it's like, you gotta tell me who this artist is, tell me who this artist is. And then, and then my character, which is me, Eric EIB, he's like, that artist is me. So it's basically like the whole moral of it was like, stay consistent and then be excited about your art. Like the whole time he's very calm. My character, me, saying, look, I just want you to listen to this hip hop artist. He never said it was him. He just said, I want you to listen to this person. And he said it very calmly while the other guy was getting frustrated and angry. He was just like, okay, well, would you listen to him, would you listen to him riding a red tractor? Or would you listen to him out at sea? Would you listen to him sipping tea? Or, like all these different things. And he's like, I would not listen to him. Like, I don't like hip hop, and then the guy said, and then my character is still very calm. And finally gets him to listen, and he likes the artist. And then he's like, I must have this artist. I want to listen to this artist. And then he's just like, oh, well, yeah, the artist is me, just to let you know that. So it's just, it really, the ending
What
really.
was that?
Yeah, I'll send you the MP3.
A YouTube link. Jeez. Are you putting your work up on YouTube?
No, we did put the music video on YouTube through the D-Man Foundation. We did make I'm a D-Man, and that video link is up on YouTube. The song's called I'm a D-Man, and D-Man's the foundation, which stands for Danny Miracle Angel Network. And the foundation was established after Danny, who had complications from his years and years of spinal cord injury, passed away in 2009. So they made a foundation in legacy of him, and that's where the barrier-free music therapy recording studio comes from, and assisted travel. Those are the two goals of the foundation. And there is a music video called I'm a D-Man.
How cool is that? So, okay, this is your passion, your love, and being a graphic designer, obviously, is your passion and love. What would you say to those listeners out there who are stuck finding their passion? What would you say to my fan base? Those listeners who are stuck finding their passion.
Excellent question, because I actually talked to just random strangers about it, and they look at me like, I've never been asked this before. I asked them what their, and I've learned this through mentoring, so it's not it wasn't my teaching, but it's something I took from mentoring, is what your ideal day look like, what's your best day look like, and be able to think about what that best day looks like. Where would it be? Who would you be with? What would you be eating? What would you be drinking? What would the weather be like? What would be your career, or what would be your job? Would you have animals? Would you be married? Would you have kids? And be able to dream it. Like say, look, this is what my best idea of. I'd be on like an island that's wheelchair accessible with the ocean breeze, and these are the people that be with me. Maybe there's friends that don't exactly live by you, but you still but you're always constantly in contact. So, or family or something. Maybe you want to be, isolated, but still, so whatever your ideal or best day looks like. And then once you kind of plan that out and map it out, which is kind of sort of like a vision board, then you say, okay, well, how do you make that day realistic? How do you make that day happen? What do you got to do to make that day happen? Did you want to live in this state? Did you want this type of home? Like whatever it is, then make that day happen. And those are the steps. And that's kind of like what I do. To find that person's passion, you start to find out. They start to find out. And then you also say, like, what makes you happy? What do you love to do that makes you happy? And there's a lot of people aren't able to answer these things. They have to, because people just don't go up to people randomly and talk to a person like that.
No.
People discuss. So they look at me like, whoa, I've never been asked that. Or I say, like, what inspires you? I ask these type of questions, like I barely know the person. Within a couple of questions, what I might ask the very first time. I might just see someone and go, hi, what inspires you? Or what's your best day look like? And they just look like, I don't even know how to answer that. So
they just look at you like you're nuts. And then they come around, and yeah, I can see why they look at you like you're nuts. And where can the people find you? Where can my fan base find you?
Just as Jesse, you got that piece of paper that fell off? I have it on a piece of paper. I made sure I was prepared for that.
Uh-huh.
Got to do your homework.
You got to do your homework. I love it.
My YouTube, I do have a YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel is, the handle is eThomas. So it's ETHOMAS 1977. And I also have a Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, which is Eric P. Thomas. And then My Instagram, though, is Eric Patrick Thomas. I know it's not exactly consistent, but I wish it was all Eric Patrick Thomas completely, but it didn't work out that way. And my Twitter is Eric P. Thomas.
That's it. So where do you mostly hang out?
I mostly hang out at my shop. No, I'm just messing with you. I know you mean social media, right?
Yes.
Let's see here. Oh, it's, I get on Facebook, because Facebook just keeps bringing up more things. They got the messenger now. They got the video calling. They got the phone calling. They just kind of keep integrating all the things that are on the other social media. But I will have Windows open. I'll be on Facebook, and then I'll switch over to Twitter and do some things, because there are certain people that are on Twitter that do not have a Facebook account. And then with Instagram, it's okay, but people, like, I'm not able to grab my phone with my hand and start flipping through Instagram, and Instagram's got, like, it's not 100% on the computer where you can go through all the interfaces. And
so Instagram is not your thing. So it's Facebook and Twitter that are the most handicapped accessible to you.
Yeah, and I use Dragon. So I use naturally speaking, I use voice recognition, and those seem to be the two that are more accessible to me. I also have a website too. InspireShirt.com is my website. I forgot to tell you that.
InspireShirt.com. And we'll have Eric's information in the show notes. But before I let Eric go, and thank you, Eric, for doing this interview, and if you heard Eric's speech recognition going in the background, he was actually trying to shut that up, because every time you say something to speech recognition, it goes nuts. So Eric was trying to be conscious of not involving speech recognition. And so if you heard a little bit of go to sleep, he wasn't necessarily talking to me. He was talking to Dragon naturally speaking, which is a good thing. And
Kristen?
I want to ask Eric 2 quick questions that he wants to ask me.
Sure. All right. Now I get to be the host. All right. I would say one of the questions, because I have a spinal cord injury and I know the things that I have to go through, what's the hardest part of having CP?
What's the hardest part of having CP? Well, to relay it back to your story, the hardest part of having CP is either the tone in my muscles or relying on people to get me dressed and get me ready. Once they do that, I'm fully functioning. But the hardest part of having a disability for all of us is getting dressed in the morning.
I understand that. Well, I mean, we have definitely an understanding of it.
Yeah.
We're on the same page.
Yeah, that's the hardest part of my day, is getting dressed in the morning. And it's not necessarily the CP aspect of dealing with it. It's just simply getting dressed, because I can't get dressed on my own.
Right, because you and I, we rely on someone to get us dressed. And if we don't have someone there, then we can't, right, we can have all the inspiration we want.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand that. You lay in bed and you're like, this is what I'm going to do today, and I can't wait to do it. And then your wheels start turning, and you're like, and you're like, you can have all the motivation or all the energy inside within you, but if you don't have that person, you just have to wait.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So what's your second question for me?
What do you think? What inspires you?
interviewing rock stars like you and sharing people's stories, those who can't speak, those who can, those who have physical limitations. That's what inspires me, and that's what keeps me going, the disabled advocacy work I do.
That's awesome. We appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Eric, and I appreciate your work, and I definitely appreciate you coming on this podcast. I know it's difficult sitting at a computer dealing with dragon naturally speaking and dealing with a voice over voice, but I appreciate your determination to come on and speak with me today. And again, you guys will have Eric's information in the show notes, and this podcast is graciously sponsored by Grace by Grit. Grace by Grit is a clothing line out of California, and they're giving you 20% off. And please, 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 please go support Eric and his wonderful design work and him as a person, because we need all the help we can get as the disabled. So please go and support Eric. But as I said, this podcast is sponsored, and this podcast, that will be in the show notes as well as Eric's information. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on today. And it's been great. It's been great.
You're welcome.
Great. You still there? Wake up. Mouse grid. 3, 6, 9, 4. Mouse click. Mouse grid. 6. Mouse click. Mouse grid. 3. Mouse click. Mouse grid. 5, 4, 2, 9. Mouse click. Go to sleep. Weebly.com. Butterflies of Wisdom.weebly.com. Okay. Wake up. Move down 4. Move down 8. Move down 8. Page down. Page down. Move down 4. Page down. Page up. Move up 8. Go to sleep. You done over there? I think, Jess, was I supposed to call someone afterwards? Yeah. I am. Wake up. Switch to next window. Mouse grid. 6, 8, 3, 9. Mouse click.
The host has joined the conference.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, is this Wynn?
Yes. How are you?
Hi, Wynn. This is This is Kristen Young. I am great. Thank you. How are you?
Good. Now, Kristen, I have a question for you. I noticed on your email that you go by Madeline.
No, Madeline is my assistant.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, why is this person Madeline sending us emails? Okay, now I get it. So,
yep,
you don't go by Madeline. Madeline is your assistant. Okay, now I get it. Now I'm like, okay, did Kristen, because I looked at the thing, and I looked at my schedule for today, and I said, I don't see a Madeline on, maybe he's helping Christine.
Yes.
So that makes sense now. Okay.
Yes.
So how this is going to work is I am obviously going to hit the record button and introduce the show and then introduce you and let you take it away.
Okay, awesome. So you're not necessarily interviewing me?
I will be, but I tend to screw up people's files, so it's easier for them to explain to my fan base what they do.
Got it. Okay. Well, if you can just prompt me and just say, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I will.
Okay.
Don't worry. I won't leave you high and dry.
I appreciate it. I mean, I'm okay with flowing, but I just want to follow your format or whatever your protocol is. So that's perfectly fine.
I know, and I appreciate that.